Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast known as Ridin the Pine. I'm Drake White. I'm here with my lovely co-host Martin Irving, and today we also have another guest speaker, and it's our first hockey player too. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hypothetical hands together as we welcome Nick Blagden to the podcast.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on, especially on such short notice. Last time the two of us would have spoken, I'm pretty sure hadn't even played a game for Moncton. You were like fresh off a shoulder surgery or something. So it's been a while.
It has that's a blast from the past. That was a long time ago. I think it was just finishing my second year in the queue, so making me feel old now.
Yeah, well, imagine how I feel, man. I don't even think I was in a university at that point. Now I'm in my fourth year, so I don't know, man. Yeah, no, I mean,
I think I just would have finished up my second year in Blainville, so that's insane. Yeah, it's a long time ago. A lot of things have changed, and hopefully I could stay there for the better.
yeah, well, I mean, because I remember one of my questions was, how do you feel about that? You're going to Moncton. You're like, well, I'm going to be one of the veteran guys there, so
Yeah,
that'll be great. And pretty sure that was the same year you won the Mem Cup, wasn't it? Or was
yeah,
that
it
the year
was.
before?
No, that was the same year. It was all in one year. I went to Moncton, didn't play till about November because of my shoulder, and only played November and December with Moncton. Luckily enough, St. John caught my eye, and they traded for me, and it was a once in a lifetime call when I got that one. Like saying I get to go to my hometown, live at home, and like Mem Cup too. So it's just a crazy experience all throughout that.
Well, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, that was right home, but I mean, what I really want to know, like, I mean, you got to win the Mem Cup. It was pretty huge. It seems, I mean, you grew up in that area, so you got to see St. John just absolutely demolish the Q for years. It was just constant. I swear, the Mooseheads could never beat him. Made me cry as a Haligonian. But like, I want to know who partied the hardest that night.
Oh man, our whole team was pretty bad. Like it wasn't one person in particular. It was probably all 25 guys of us. Like the night was a blur ever since the dressing room. Like like it was insane. Like we won the cup and then we spent about an hour on the ice afterwards. And you're seeing your family and everything like that. Then you gotta go in the dressing room. And it's just the team. And I was in the dressing room for no longer than like 20, 30 minutes. And I got out to go meet my girlfriend and her sister. And I had a chipped tooth, dents on my forehead, and what was coming to be a black eye. And I could barely speak. She's like, "It's been 30 minutes. Like, where were you?" Just like champagne bottles tossed around, hit me in the face, beer cans off my head. Like, it was just a gong throw. And then from that night on, it was a night to remember, and what felt like it was like a week to remember. Like St. John was just on a high after that, and I think it still is. I mean, it's the best thing that I've ever seen happen to the city. Like having Mem Cup right in the city, it's like the city was buzzing for the whole week. My brother would message me saying like I owe him money because he's spending like $100 a night, and like it's insane.
Well, I mean, I think what made it funnier too is it's the fact that you guys were knocked out really early in the playoffs, fire the coach, and then immediately go back in. I remember reading like nobody really had high expectations because you guys got spanked in the early rounds, and you just kind of come out of nowhere and annihilate everybody through the tournament.
Yeah, it was insane. Like we were on a 16 game heater going into playoffs, and everybody thought we were going to make a long run for it. And then, home 5 games later, a team full of 17-year-olds and Rimouski shows us that you can't count anybody out, right? And they torched us during those 5 games. Like, it wasn't even close. So, no, like when we got the new coach come in, it was pretty insane, and everybody kind of knew we had to dial it in. And 30 days straight, what seemed like we had like 2 days off. It was a grind to get to the Mountain Cup, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I even thought it was because I'm looking, I'm like, why are they firing a coach so early? Why are they hiring a coach so early? I'm like, so they got like 4 games left and they're already going with a new guy for like a whopping 4 games. Like it was such a bizarre thing to read at the time.
I'll be honest, I think if we didn't have that new coach, we probably wouldn't have won the Mem Cup.
Yeah, well,
Like Gar
I can't remember where he went, but I heard that he was, like dude knows his stuff.
well, he's my coach at UNB now.
Oh, so that works out.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I got the call to come to UNB. So he's the best coach ever. Like I mean, he's been coaching here at UNB for 23 years. He has 9 national championships. And 15 straight times he's been a winner of AUF, like for Atlantic University sport. And then now he's got a Mem Cup behind his belt too. Like he's the most winning coach I've ever seen in Canadian hockey history. He's going to go down as a Hall of Famer.
Wow. Well, it must be a privilege to play for him, and he must like his grit grinders out there.
Yeah, well, he says I'm his good luck charm right now. We're on a 10-game win streak to start the season. I've done every single warm up for him. Played a couple games, but I'm mostly there to be a good guy in the dressing room, do the warm up, stick up for the boys. And he says I'm his good luck charm. I said, I don't know, coach. I think we just got a really stacked team. Like, I don't think me doing the warm up every night really makes a difference, but whatever floats your boat.
You're their equivalent of the Leafs, Ryan Reeves. You're there to bring the vibes and beat people up.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it.
I hope you're doing
Contribute
more
with
than
a
Reeves.
couple. What's that? Sorry.
Said I hope you're doing more than Reeves is right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't get me started. I'm a Leafs fan right now, and I just checked the score. It was 4-1 last time I checked, and
Well, it's 4-3 now.
Oh my
really?
God.
We're making a comeback.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
all over again.
They stopped playing Reeves. That's probably why.
Yeah, well, he's been on for 7 goals against. So, I mean, the poor
Yeah.
guy's there to fight, and he doesn't get to do that. So he's just there to be a liability.
Literally, man. Like, don't get me wrong. Love the guy to death. I think he's great for that organization, but he's just doing cardio out there. Like he's not doing too much. At least, like sometimes, some games I'm doing the same thing, but some games I like to contribute a little bit of offense. Like he's not doing anything. Like it's insane. Luckily, he's tough as nails.
But they won't
The
even
game
let him
I
do
went
that.
to, the game I
Yeah,
saw him at, he was trying to jump up in the rush and all that. And I've never seen a slower winger try and jump up in the
Harder.
rush. It was brutal.
yeah, those are some heavy boots, eh?
Oh yeah, it was like he's wearing cement.
Apparently never seen
Brutal.
Milan Lucic play a hockey game then.
Oh yeah, Luch is a heavy body. I think
Yeah.
he might be the toughest in the league, though. Honestly, Luch.
Oh yeah.
I think Luch could battle Revo for one. Luch is like an old amateur boxer growing up.
We were robbed of that last game, eh?
Yeah, I know. That's what I tuned into that game. I didn't know Luch was hurt. I was kind of upset.
Oh, it would have been a bloodbath.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, hopefully more of that to come. Could be
Yeah, no,
playoff
maybe.
matchup in the spring. You never know.
yeah.
He's not
and
playing in the playoffs.
I need a Revo Jack Eye round two too. Like I don't think that one went as everyone would have thought it would have went.
No, he was pushed over a net. That wasn't a fair fight. I mean, you were a
Oh.
fighter. You know that's not a fair move.
Not at all. And then the punch on the ground afterwards, like, come on, man. Like, listen, I know Jack Eye's tough as nails, but like you can't punch people when they're on the ground. That's just a code of respect.
Did you ever get paired up against them in the Mem Cup?
So I never played. I didn't play a game to the member, but like I wanted to go him so bad. And our coach was like seriously considering it. Like if we would have played Hamilton's second game, I think he would have put me in to try to fight Jack Eye. It was just because it was like first game, like he wasn't sure, so didn't quite make the lineup. But that would have been my toughest fight to date, 100%. But it would have been a good one. Like I think everybody's got a fighter's chance, so I think I would have went in there with some pretty good confidence, and it would have been an electric fight.
Well, on behalf of Niagara, I got to thank you guys for beating Hamilton out in the finals. There, it was.
Yeah.
I always try to cheer for the O team, but that one was a bit tough to do.
Yeah, no, I bet. And it sucks now. Like I got the ex-captain of Hamilton's on my team, and sometimes I just give it right to him. Anytime he's bugging me that day, I'm like, "Hey, man, listen, you want me to take you back to July 2022? What happened then?" So, oh.
You get final bragging rates in the room on him.
Exactly. Well, like I came into UNB and I was like, I've been 21 for a couple of years for the number. And I was like, okay, like, let me see who's got 21 on this roster. I might be able to say, hey, I'll buy a case of beer or take you out to dinner or something for that number. And it was him. So I was like, oh, I already did him enough. So he could have 21. I'll switch to 24.
Which captain is that? Cameron?
Yeah. Colton
Yeah.
Cameron.
Oh, that's where he went.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. He sat out, so he didn't play in the Memmer because of his knee. He had knee surgery and then sat out all of last year. But this year he's playing his hell of a player. Like just the best defenseman probably in our league right now, and just hits everything. I love it. I love those kind of players. So he's doing real well for us.
Wayne, are
He's a
there
gritty guy.
any guys on that team that you would have had a couple tilts with back in the queue? I'd assume so.
Yeah, there's one guy. We just brought him in from St. FX. So it was my first year in the league. I would have been 17. He was 20, and his name is Patrick Kite. Patty Kite.
I know Patty Kite. He was in
played in Halley.
Halifax.
Yeah, played in Halley. So Patty Kite gave the biggest hit of all time to my winger, and like I was on the fourth line, so was this kid. Like so he was a call up. He's like 18-year-old call up, 5'6", 140 maybe, and got blown up by Patty. And I was on the left wing, drop my mitts and hum across the whole ice. And there's a big scrum. And Patty just says like the only thing he felt was like a right hand to his face. And then like people came in and took us down. Like it was just an insane brawl. Like I got jumped on, tumbled my knee, tore my MCL, my ACL, but I was all hyped up on adrenaline after I fought Patty. So I get back up, grab another guy and start fighting him, then skate off the ice. And then my knee buckled when I got to the ice. And it turns out I fought two guys on a torn MCL and my knee was just beat the crap. I was out for the next month.
Nails. Oh
So
my God.
Patty would be like the only one that I would have fought. We have a lot of skill guys on our team. So, but actually me and Camer, like CK, we fought in practice of the national final last year. And it was one for fun, but it was like, we got pretty heated after it. So it was a good tilly too.
A little bit of blues action in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember watching him drop the mitts at our rink, the Meridian Center, a couple times. He's as tough as nails. He's a
Oh yeah, he's a tough guy. Yeah, and no, and he just plays it right to a T. Like when we went, because he was out for the whole year, and I knew I wasn't playing a national, so we were just doing morning skate, like the day of national final. We're playing U Alberta that night, and I just kind of like it was like messing with him a little bit. Like I always kind of test people in practice a little bit, and then he just like kind of dropped his gloves. I was like, all right, yeah, like I'll go, like I'll show you a couple things, and all of a sudden I get like 3 punches, boom, right to my lip, and then I just kind of saw red, and I was like right hand, left hand, like kind of feeding. Anyways, we left. Like I had a little bit of a swollen lip with I had to get stitches on my knuckle, and then he had to get 6 stitches on his lip, and it's like coach just like, what are you guys doing? It's game day of national finals. We're like, hey, we got the boys going. We got a 4-1 win in the finals. So we got the team buzzing.
whatever it takes.
Exactly.
Never seen the likes. Well, I mean, you're a big fighter guy anyway. So, I mean, I guess you got out of the queue at the right time because now they're not allowed to fight there anymore. What's your kind of thought process on that one being, the scrapper you were?
I hate it, man. Like honestly, it's something else. Like I could see that they were going in that direction while I was in the league because my first year in the league, you're allowed 10 fights, and like that's good, like that's awesome. And then they lower it down to 3, and then it's like I'm getting my max fights in preseason. Like it's insane. So then like next year was 3 again, and then when I saw that they did that, I'm like, there's obviously a place in hockey for fighting because I'm noticing it right now in university because there's no fighting in university, that there's a lot of people that weren't tough when I played them in junior that all of a sudden are tough now because there's no fighting. And it just frustrates me so much because, if you had a 1 fight rule, even just knowing that someone could like go you in that instance, like if you're talking the crap and slew footing people, running people from behind, and then that you have to pay a consequence, you're probably not going to do that anymore. And that's what I see. Like I talked to a couple guys that are on the Sea Dogs still right now, and it's just like having the no fight rule. There's so many pretenders in the league right now. It's insane.
Yeah, and then you go look at the dub and like they're having a fight every night. So I mean, what happens when you get into the Memorial Cup and they start sitting there poking at whoever's in the Q League, knowing that they're not going to touch them now because none of them know how to fight?
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like I think it's insane that there's like 3 different rule books for the 3 different leagues. You're called the CHL for a reason. Like you should have one whole rule book. But I guess yeah, it's insane.
That's too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy for that. Eh? can't do things that are too easy. It's got to be complicated right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's such bull crap, honestly. I made the league as a fighter, and if I didn't fight, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't have 2 national championships in my belt. You know, there's a place in hockey for it. And you know, like I always hear from every single one of my teammates, like every different teams, different years, that I don't have to play like any minutes. Just having me on the bench makes them feel a little bit safer. Like I heard that even in youth sports, like there's no fighting, but just having me on the bench, the boys can play like they're, you know, if they're 5'9", they can play like they're 6 foot. Just they feel a little bit safer out there. They could feel like they go finish that hit. They feel like they could take that extra move to the middle without having the consequence of getting domed. So it's I think there's definitely a place in hockey for it.
Yeah, well, even watching the NHL now, I mean, they're fighting like every other night now. It's job way up. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on with that.
No,
Everybody's
it's
angry.
yeah, it's insane. And I came like, so I retired from hockey after the Mem Cup, and I was just playing senior hockey in St. John. And senior hockey was like you fight every night, like it was insane. You fight twice a night if you want. There was nothing to do about it. So like coming from that, going into university, it was like kind of a shell shock. Like I was like, oh, did I make the right decision? But yeah, I know I did. So no, it's insane seeing like the different leagues, like AHL, they still fight every night. Like, I don't know. I think I was surprised that it was the Q first. I thought it was going to be the L, because the O was the first league to drop it down to 3. But I don't know,
It's
now
been
everybody,
3 here for a while.
yeah, I think it's been 3 since my first year in the league. So you guys were like a year before us or something like that.
Yeah, the earliest I can remember it, I think, is 2016, 2017.
Oh wow, yeah,
I
that's a
think that's
lot.
when they changed it.
Yeah, so yeah, that's even before me. Yeah, because my first year that they switched it to 3 was be the 2021 year. And then they switched it to 3 there because it was 10 the year before. But like no one, like I tried to max out, but like you couldn't max out with 10. Like no one's maxed out since there was like Boko Imama in the league back in the
Oh,
day.
I remember that guy.
Oh, he's the scariest
He
kid.
was
Like, oh,
terrifying.
well, like he came into St. John because I had season tickets to St. John for 13 years, right? He came to St. John. Everybody thought he was at least 36 with 3 kids. Like he was massive, dude. Like, and one of my best buddies was his billet brother. Like, billeted him, and so I saw him a lot, like around the ranks, and he was a man amongst kids.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing him in Halifax. As I don't remember how old I would have been, but I was there with my dad, my grandfather, and he's skating around. He's just chipping at everybody. So we're
Oh
looking like
yeah,
this guy's got to be the ultimate instigator out here right now. And one of the Sea Dogs fans turns around. He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure he sent multiple guys home in a body bag in the last week."
yeah,
Like he was
legit.
scary.
You ever see the? Well, you're a Halley fan, so you ever see the fight with him and Kelly Bent?
I might have. That would have been a long time ago. So it was
Yeah,
before
so
I was on social media.
it was Joe Valeno it was his exceptional status year for St. John, and Joe Valeno was getting jumped by Kelly Bent, who played for the Mooseheads, and Kelly Bent was just like feeding him his lunch money, and that's when Boko jumped the bench and like jumped Kelly Bent and fought him and like got like 15 games, skated off the ice, spat on the goalie, like it was insane. And then their first game playing against each other was Boko's first game back, and it was in St. John. It was the craziest fight I've ever seen. Like I've seen a couple fights where I've been like, hey, now I want to be a fighter. If I seen that, I was like, I could go right on the ice and start fighting someone. Like it just gets so much energy, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess he got to the AHL and the NHL briefly for a reason. It's because he was sending people home, asleep.
Yeah, exactly. In the body
Yeah,
bag. Yeah.
yeah, go night night.
Yeah. For real. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you even see the fight in like here, despite the fact we lowered it. I was working at a AAA tournament. You see two guys from there's like an Ottawa team and a Toronto team. The two of them are just so done with each other that the gloves just come down at center ice, and the two of them are going like an old school tilt. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're begging the refs not to suspend them for the rest of the tournament because they're going to the O anyway, so it doesn't matter. They're never going to be there. We're like,
Yeah.
please don't suspend them. That was the funniest thing we've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
Oh my
It's
God.
it's always the best when you see those like the young fights. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah, well,
Like
they
they
don't
got
know what they're doing half the
passion.
time.
Yeah, they got no idea what they're doing, but they got so much passion behind every punch. It's like the misses are so big. Like they swing, miss, and they fall to the ground. Like it's hilarious.
Yeah, the only guy that I thought was gonna fight, he didn't fight. Dude was like 6'4", 200 pounds at like 16. He was terrifying.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, I'm like interviewing him, looking up at him, like, yeah, you are a terrifying individual.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Just a
imagine that'd be me with half the scrappers in the queue.
monster.
The
He
old guard put
always
me out there with Jody Shelley. I'll go hang out with Jody, see what he's up to. Another Mooseheads legend.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, the O is so inconsistent with their three fight rule. Our captain a few years ago, I'm pretty sure it was him, Dakota Betts. I think he got 5 fights in before the league even realized it, and they were like, "Yo, you can't be doing that."
Oh, boy.
It was one of our games against Erie, which has fights every single game, and he's trying to get the other guy to drop the glove so hard, and then he's just not doing it. Because
Yeah.
if you don't get the instigator, it doesn't count on your card apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you get jumped, then it doesn't count on your card and it's sweet. The fight like suspension rules, they've confused me. Like I got 23 game suspension in like 3.5 years, and like 22 of them were from fighting. It's just like it's insane some of the suspension rules. Like for me, it was a lot of stage fighting.
Yeah,
And how they clarify stage fighting is when the puck drops, you have to wait 10 seconds before you fight. Like when I'm about to fight, I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Like I'm not counting down slowly in my head. So it's just some of the rules are just bogus to me, honestly. Like I got 10 games for a stage fight. So that means I got 10 games for someone agreeing to fight me. And I remember like I was getting calls from the queue, and it was just like they're asking me if I learned my lesson. And like yeah, like, but I wouldn't change anything I did. I just would have waited 3 more seconds. Like,
exactly.
Hey
Yeah.
man, shame on you. You started a fight after 9.5 seconds. You were supposed to
yeah,
wait the extra point 5.
yeah,
Come on,
exactly. It's
grow
like
up.
nothing would have changed. I would still would have fought. Like,
Like how
no,
many
Yeah,
fights
I'll
do you see
say.
right off the face off, like or during the face off or whatever, it's
yeah. It's like in the NHL, you see so many.
oh yeah.
But when you're in junior, it's like, oh, it's like it's slim pickings. It's almost like you can't do it anymore. It's insane. But
They just
that's
Especially
like
handed out
now,
that.
you get the wrong guy.
Yeah.
They don't want him to start lumberjacking at your legs, Phil Kessel style. If you pick the wrong guy to jump,
Honestly, like they say it's for your safety. I think it's better to do that than to just go right away. Like when I have time to square off, like I could see what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, all right, I'm eyeballing it. Okay, this guy's coming in as a righty. Maybe I'm gonna go lefty. I could do that. But when it's just like grab and go, it's just like you never know what could happen. And especially if you're by a big crowd, like someone could slip and fall. Like there's a lot of people by it, right? So I don't know. I could talk on and on about the QMJHL and their fighting rules and how I don't really agree with them too much, but oh well, they treated me well while I was there, so I'm
yeah,
good.
they just got lucky you left when you did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No,
suspension every game.
yeah,
Somebody
like
just finally broke that rule, eh? The last weekend, I believe it was.
for
They
the Q, right?
yeah, somebody finally fought in the queue.
Yeah, no, I love to see it. I think I thought that there'd be a little bit more, but if there's only one fight in a certain amount of games, like that's just insane. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I played almost 100 games. I don't know what my right number was. Like in the high 80s, low 90s, I had like 16 to 20 fights. So I don't think you're gonna see too much of that anymore. I think like my age group would probably be the last of the kind of heavyweights coming in. There's a couple of us, like we had 2 or 3 heavyweights on St. John alone when we won the member. And I don't think you're gonna see too much of that anymore, which is kind of sad because like I grew up watching hockey that way. Like St. John always had 3 or 4 or 5 heavyweights on the team. That's what made me love St. John and love hockey and fall in love with the way that I'm kind of playing hockey still to this day.
I'm
Yeah, well,
glad the
that's
O
fun
isn't
style.
isn't that way. One of our fighting major leaders right now is a rookie. So
Oh, really?
yeah, I think he's got 3 or 4 under his belt this season already.
That's awesome.
He plays for London. I think his name is Bolton or
Oh,
something like that.
oh,
Oh,
that
yeah, I
Bolton kid,
see,
yeah,
like,
Sawyer
yeah,
Bolton.
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh
Eric
my God,
Bolton
he's
or
mean.
something. Yeah,
yeah.
I got a
He just
couple
fought
guys
the
that
other
play.
Jack guy.
Yeah, I had a couple buddies that they used to play on London, and they were telling me about this kid, saying he's pretty tough. Yeah,
Yeah, time
no,
for you to go with him. Show him the
yeah,
ropes.
he's a young buck.
Yeah,
Or
shocker. The Hunters would like a player like that, eh?
Yeah, seriously though, eh? Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I always love to see those young kids when they come up. Like I was like that when I was young, and I always tried to fight the 20-year-olds, and they never gave me a chance, right? And it was just so I knew when I was older, like when I was a 20-year-old or something, I'd always kind of if a kid wanted it, if he had a good enough name built up, like I'd give him a chance, like let him build his name, right? The only thing is going into that, like you have everything to lose. Like when I was young, like I had everything to gain. I didn't like if I get my butt beat by a 20-year-old, it's all right because he's one of the toughest lit in the league. But if I beat his butt, like it just looks bad on him. And then vice versa, when I switch to a 20-year-old, it's the same thing.
what we need you to do now is sign a PTO with the Leafs. Go
Yeah.
grab the biggest guy out there. You're playing Boston. You see Liljegren get Slewfoot. What's the first thing you're doing?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's not sitting there quietly like Tyler Bertuzzi was on the bench.
Oh, he was
Saying,
laughing. What do you mean quietly?
yeah, that's true. He was laughing. Yeah.
You just
No,
skate by and watch, right?
yeah, that's called you don't give the coach a chance. You put your leg over the board and you just go. Like,
I'll take the
seriously.
suspension.
Yeah, no. Like I remember when I fought in Halifax. It would have been my 19 year, and that's when I got the 10 games. And one of our teammates got knee on knee, and I didn't even like the guy had a penalty. He got out of the box. I didn't question it. It wasn't even my line going. Someone came. I stopped him and said, "I'm going." Hopped over the boards, asked the guy to fight, and just went. Just because I knew like it was my role. Like I'm doing it on my terms, type thing, right?
You gotta do it for your
Yeah,
boys, right? And that kind of makes me wonder
100%.
what the locker room is like in Toronto. If they're not standing up for each other, then what's the relationship in there?
No, 100%. Like you gotta be able to live and die for your teammates. Like they're your brothers, right? You gotta go battle for them every single night. And I didn't notice that until like probably my second year in the league, and I saw like our skill guys starting to fight. Then I went to Moncton. Moncton was a younger team. They were kind of doing that a little bit. Like some young guys would try to fight a little bit. St. John wasn't too much when we were winning the member, just because like we were winning every single game. Like, and we had 3 tough guys, so anybody could go. And but when I went to play, I played a couple games with the Sea Dogs. Like played like 4 games with them when I retired, and I was just playing senior hockey. They called me up for 4 games. I had a good 4 game stint, but I was with like we had the youngest team in the queue at the time, like just a whole bunch of 16, 17-year-olds on the team. And like our coach was saying, like he's never seen these guys be so feisty. Like we had like a second year, like a 17-year-old kid who like maybe had 2 penalty minutes in the whole season, and he was like asking someone to fight because they ran someone. And the coach just like I've never seen that before. And that's what you need. Like you need to be able to go to battle for your teammates and stuff like that.
you're both a good and bad influence on them.
Yeah, exactly. Show them the ways, but maybe not the right ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, kind of pivoting a little bit from the fighting because I mean we could be going on about the fighting for like the next like 3 hours. I
Yeah.
mean, you're you're a big motivational speaker. You have your own story with mental health. You've really kind of pivoted into that role. Is there anything maybe share a little bit about your journey, why you kind of got into speaking to going to schools and all that. Sort of what your mindset was. Through your own battles and what you're trying to get out there for other people.
Yeah, for sure. Like, so kind of where my struggles started, it was 2016. And I just started high school, met some lifelong friends, just made my Bantam AAA hockey team. And from the outside, everything looked in my favor. But really on the inside, it was just the start of a long, dark tunnel of emotions and thoughts that kind of cloud my mind for the next 4 years. And it wasn't until February 2020 where like it was 6 months into my first year in Blainville, and I struggled the worst I ever have. Like I didn't care if I lost everything. I'd get 1 hour of sleep a night and have to wake up the next day with a mask of happiness and a mask that everything was okay. But really on the inside, I was having almost weekly suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts. And it was hard for me living up there, but I loved it. But it was hard because it was the first time moving away from home. Also, I dealt with mental health issues I didn't know about for 4 years prior. So it wasn't until I had enough that I finally took off that mask and I just sought out help from our trainer in Quebec. And I got diagnosed with ADHD, OCD, anxiety, and depression. And from there on, I kind of started my journey of getting better. And one thing that kind of stuck with me throughout it all is my trainer told me, just try to win your day every day. You know, I go home at the end of the day. If I feel like I didn't win my day today, maybe I had a bad practice, that's okay because that gives me motivation to wake up tomorrow and try to win a new day. And how I kind of describe that is just that, winning your day could be as something as simple as making you feel like you're in control of your life. For me, it's hiking, fishing, being outside. Like I'm a big outdoorsman, so being outside and just getting some physical activity as well. So from there on, I started kind of my healing of trying to get better for the next probably about a couple of months to a year. And then in February or January of 2021, I sent out a couple tweets, just kind of first time I've ever been open about my mental health. It was Bell Let's Talk Day. First time I put it out in public, and it kind of got some pretty good following. I had a good following on Twitter at the time. And I got a message from a guy named Craig Eagles asking me if he could write a story about like my mental health journey. So it kind of took a little bit for me to decide on that one because it was going to go from maybe a couple hundred people seeing my page to maybe a couple thousand. And I wasn't sure if I was ready for that, but I said, you know what, maybe this can make an impact on people because even from the first tweets that I sent, I had so many backlash saying like, because you sent this, I feel confident enough to share my story. So from there on, I was just like, I'm all in on being an advocate for mental health. So I did that article. And from there on, I had great reviews about it, like multiple people asking me, where can I go for help? All of this stuff. And I didn't want to stop there. So my mom reached out to someone named Jess Ferguson, and she's from Moncton. And she was a public speaker about her mental health issues all around New Brunswick and Canada. And she kind of became my mentor when I moved to Moncton. And that's when I started my speaker series in August of 2021. And I just started speaking at a French school in Moncton, and I can't speak French, so it was a tough first speech. But from there, I've done, I think I'm at 199, so I'm one away from 200 right now. And I've hit across North America as well as one country in Europe. I've hit Switzerland. So it's been a dream, like throughout it all. It's been a journey. And I've learned so much, and it's still keep going. And I just want to keep trying to end the stigma around mental health because I'm obsessed with it. It's almost kind of like a therapy for me, giving my speeches, because every speech I give a little bit of me to every little person in that speech, every little person hearing that speech, and it's awesome. I'd like to kind of take it a little further if I can, maybe do some TED Talks in the future and kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I respect everything that you're doing with that, right? I mean, I saw your post from a couple weeks ago, and that was sort of when I knew that I wanted to bring you on here as our first player. Because I mean, it takes a big man to admit that, he's got problems, but it takes a bigger man to go out of his way to, make it known to other people that that's all right, for them too, and to really kind of back them up and, help them out too. I mean, we're starting to see that grow, but I mean, from the looks of it, like you're kind of one of the pioneers for that in hockey right now.
Yeah, like prior to me, I've seen like one or two other people that I know of. They came about their mental health issues. But when I started my speaker series, I knew it was something that was kind of original to me, and that's why it meant so much. And like it came from nowhere. It's like no one would have thought I had mental health issues, especially like I was one of the toughest guys in the queue during my whole time there, and like I'm supposed to be this mean, tough hockey player. Really on the inside, like, I had mental health issues. And that's just go say that just because you're mentally ill doesn't mean you're mentally weak. And it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay that way. So I think that a lot of people can now still go down that path. Like I've had a couple of hockey players reach out to me saying that they want to share their story and eventually take it to kind of where I'm going. And I love that because I love being the first one to break boundaries. And I don't mind being a testing tool. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's what we need in hockey, especially where the culture is, right? Where, it's all about the tough guy mentality. It's all about suck it up, be tough, nobody cares. So, I mean, that's exactly the kind of boundary that needed to be broken.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Like I'm sick and tired of it being like, oh, the macho, all of this, all of that. Like, I mean, your mental health is just as, if not more important than your physical health, and you got to treat it that way. And people need to start treating it that way because just because, you know, I'm depressed and I'm anxious doesn't mean that I'm still not tough, right? Like I battled through that for so many years and hit it. And that was the hardest thing I've had to do was hide my mental health issues from, friends and family. Like no one would have thought that it was me that had mental health issues. I was the class clown, like making everybody laugh, making everybody joke. But I think it was almost a scapegoat for me, being that class clown because making people laugh, making people happy, that was always what brought me happiness. And it wasn't until I realized that I have to bring myself my own happiness, and I can't just do it for everybody else. I have to take a look in the mirror and do something for myself for once.
We
Yeah,
just
kind of take by the reins.
one of the first NHL players to actually open up recently was Spencer Knight. He opened up about his time leaving the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
He checked in to the NHL rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Turned out he was
It
his
was OCD, wasn't
OCD.
it?
Yeah, and that's kind of the first time anybody in the pro leagues has really opened up about it, and
Yeah, and I
hopefully,
guarantee there's so many more
oh
too,
yeah,
right? Like 100%. Like I always like I'm not a big statistics guy, but it says 1 in 5 people. So you go through a team usually carries about 25 people. That means 5 people are suffering from mental illness. I guarantee some teams are probably more. So
oh
I think
definitely.
that people got to be able to feel comfortable with, but I feel like hockey hasn't got to there yet, where people don't feel comfortable enough to come out about their mental health issues. Luckily enough, I was in a good position. I trusted someone that 6 months prior, I didn't even know who he was. He spoke French for his first language. I spoke English, but I felt enough trust in him that I could tell him my story. And I was lucky enough to have that outlet because maybe if I didn't have that outlet, maybe I wouldn't have come out about that. Maybe I wouldn't even be here today because I didn't have that outlet to come out to. So, and I think that's what is needed in hockey more. And that's why I'm still advocating because I want to be that outlet for people. If people need to talk, like I've had multiple teammates from different teams come out to me with their mental health issues, but also not only that, other players in the league. When I was playing in the Q, I had multiple messages from like players I play against, and they're messaging me asking, where can I get help from? Or what was your step-by-step process? Like, how did you get better? And I just try to help people from there. And I think that's what hockey really needs is just a source outlet and a comfortability that you can be, not weak, but you could have mental health issues, right? You don't have to hide stuff.
And that's it's a huge thing, especially for CHL age players. You come in the league at 16. You're not even fully, you're still practically a kid at 16.
Yeah.
It's important. You're basically starting a whole new life at 16. If you move on, move away to a different team, all that sort of stuff. It's a lot, and I can't imagine, what a lot of guys go through, and it's important to have that outlet to to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. It's massive because I know for myself playing in the Q, we'd have like one thing per year, maybe about mental health. And again, it's all statistics. It's never someone saying, I went through this, I made it through. This is where I'm at today. This is how I got through. And like you mentioned before, like it's like we're such a young age. Like, yeah, thanks. There's people coming in the league at 16 years old. Like I moved away when I was 16 years old. Like when I got drafted by Blainville, I didn't even know where Blainville was. So like there's kids that are moving away to places 10 hours away, and you gotta think there's Euros moving halfway across the world. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
Russia. Like it's insane what people go through to play the CHL, right? And so I just think it's got to be talked more about, and that's why I've spreading my word to as many hockey teams as well as I can, like all sports teams. But I've talked to a couple QMJHL teams as well.
Yeah, I think like in the WHL too, these kids are moving halfway across the country, even
Yeah,
to a different country. You know, you could be from Brandon, Manitoba, and you get drafted by Seattle or Portland, and then
yeah,
it's absolutely wild to think about.
yeah. It's a culture change, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know, here in the O, you only move probably 6 hours at the most, you know. The Q and the
yeah,
W, it's you're moving across country. It's
yeah.
wild.
I think for me, I was 10 hours away, but I had a buddy who moved 16 hours away up in Miranda, and
Jeez.
Ouch.
their winters are even worse than the East Coast, like than like the Maritimes. Like it's northern Quebec is legit during the wintertime. It's insane.
Yeah,
And
well,
our
I remember moving far. I went to school with a guy. He got drafted by Acadie Bathurst, but
Yeah.
apparently he'd gone into the meetings, and one of them was Baie-Comeau, and the first thing he did is he looked at me and goes, "Yeah, I'm not moving to Baie-Comeau, man." I go, "Why?" He's like, "I am not moving that far out to the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
to play for Baie-Comeau. It's not happening."
Well, the thing is with Big Kamal is you got to take a ferry to get there, and they have one hotel in the city, and it's haunted. So when you're playing there on the road, it's just brutal. And the boards, like my first game back from shoulder surgery was in Baie-Comeau, and they still don't have like the plexiglass boards. They just have like the wooden boards. Like the boards you go in, your shoulders are gonna pop out. So I'm playing there with like pretty much one shoulder already, and it's just it was pretty insane first game to come back to.
So I guess that explains why he didn't want to go there now.
Yeah, yeah, that'll sum it up for short. That's for sure.
Yeah, no thanks.
next time our boys complain about having to go 6 hours to the Sioux, I'll bring that up to them.
Yeah,
Oh, the Sioux. I got a couple buddies on my team, and they're from the Sioux, and they just tell me stories about that place. It's I gotta get out to it. I heard it's great fishing up there, though.
It's probably more close to what you guys are used to out
Yeah,
there, but from down here, it's a completely different animal, you know?
yeah. No, that's what like they talk about the Sioux that they love it, and then I hear some from my other buddies, like from Hamilton or Mississauga, and they're like, "Man, the Sioux sucks. Like it's brutal." So no, I hear mixed reviews, but I did hear the fishing's good, so that's about the only reason why I want to get up there.
well, I mean that's something the two of us can relate to. Two of us aren't afraid of being out in the wilderness a little bit. 'Cause two of us grew up on the East Coast. There's nothing out there.
Oh yeah, it's just woods, man. It's insane.
Yeah, well, that's what I keep telling everybody. They're like, "Well, what's Nova Scotia like?" I'm like, "Water, trees." Someone's like, "Yeah, I was at work." Dude's like, "Yeah, I have a sister that lives in Nova Scotia." I'm like, "Oh, whereabouts?" He goes, "Well, oh no, but like it's on the water. It's out towards the woods. Your closest neighbor is probably about a kilometer away." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's most of Nova Scotia, unless it's like the Halifax area."
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
It's like New Brunswick's worse somehow, but
No,
hate
like
driving through there.
I always say, it's God's country out here. Like I'm from a place outside St. John called Prince of Wales, and there is probably anywhere from 150 to 250 people in my little town. And all there is in my little town is just a whole bunch of ATV trails, fishing spots, and duck blinds. That's about it all my way. So I grew up living on that stuff and love it.
That's why I tell everybody New Brunswick is the only good thing about New Brunswick is you got to go through it to get to Nova Scotia.
Oh
There's a little
yeah,
bit more going on over there.
there is. I will tell you, a night in Halifax, you could twist my arm for that over anything in New Brunswick. So that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm always starting fights with people at school about New Brunswick. They're like, "Yeah, I'm from New Brunswick." I'm like, "Yeah, All right, you're done.
I'm gonna pretend like that
I
isn't where my family's from.
what?
I'm gonna pretend like that isn't where my
Your
family's
family
from.
better not be from New Brunswick, man.
That's why I'm pretending.
Whereabouts in New Brunswick?
A little town called Rexton.
Oh yeah, Rexton NB.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never
that's a
been,
small. That's a
but
small town.
oh yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of small towns in New Brunswick. We don't have too much. We got Moncton, St. John when we have the Mem Cup, and Fredericton's all right sometimes. That's
See, I
about
like
it.
Edmundston because it's right next to the border. Means I get to go into
Yeah.
Quebec. Do I like Quebec? No, but it's not New Brunswick.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I always stay there when I'm going from here to Nova Scotia. Stop in Edmundston. Do any of them speak English? No, thankfully I did a bit of immersion, so I'm losing it, but I still know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm like, may as well just leave and go join Quebec.
That's what I always say. Edmonton's just Quebec. Like honestly.
Yeah.
People only
Yeah.
go to Edmonton for two things. It's to stay there so they could cross the border, get cheap beer, and it's for the casino in Edmonton.
They have a nice hotel too, big castle up on the hill.
Yeah, so that's the only reason I hear for people go to Edmonton.
Yeah. No, anytime I was ever in New Brunswick when I played hockey, it was the worst thing ever. You get there and you realize that even though it's all house league, these guys got to be comparable like our double A teams. Like the goalies are like they look like they're eating full on horses for dinner. They're huge. I'm
Yeah.
looking around. I'm like, okay, so the rest are French. That's a problem. My guys don't speak French. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh no, they're allowed to hit. We're not allowed to hit back home. What's going on here? So I'm like, well, maybe the rest will. Oh no, never mind. One of my guys just got hit on the numbers and didn't get called. And oh, he's leaving on a stretcher. Penalty? No penalty. Okay.
I gotta give you a Leafs
Terrible.
update.
Leafs update. 4-4?
It's 5-4 Toronto.
Come on.
What?
I'm not even kidding.
Who scored?
Maddie got another one. Marner got another one, and Yarncrook has one.
Oh, finally, someone that's not the big four scored.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's insane. That's awesome.
wild.
Maybe I should stop watching the games.
Yeah, that's what I do. I can't watch them in the playoffs. They lose if I watch.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh,
You didn't watch game 6 last year, and look what
That's
happened.
true. I couldn't watch game 6 because I was working, and and they finally break the curse. I think I watched the last 2 games of round 2, and they both got smoked.
Jeez.
Like, oh my, I'm such a bad luck charm ever since I was born. Nick, you might not have heard this story, but I was born right in the middle of the 02 World Juniors.
Oh, really?
So it's I think pretty sure it was the finals, Russia and Canada. So my dad's running back and forth between the room and out in the waiting room to get his updates from the game and then running back. Well, Canada blows a lead that game, so I'm not allowed to watch World Juniors games between Canada and Russia anymore. I'm cursed.
Luckily, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll be back someday, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We the whole world's asking for Ivan Demidov, so
I don't get why I mean, I get it, but like they didn't let any Russians come over to the CHL anymore.
Yeah, well, that was so bizarre too, because I'm like, there were already Russians in the CHL. I mean, the OHL, we had a Ukrainian too.
Yeah,
right?
like
So you had Russians and Ukrainians, and they weren't, there was nothing going on between them. There were a couple guys here, that they were yelling, xenophobic slurs at the Russian players, and that got dealt with like that. But
yeah,
I mean, those guys were never a problem here.
Yeah, and like, what did those kids that want to just pursue their hockey dreams? What did they do wrong? They just live in the wrong country, but they didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you were born in the wrong country.
Yeah, legit. Like,
yeah, we're
we have one Russian left.
There is one left.
We have one actually from Russia on our squad right now.
Yeah,
he's the
Sobolev,
yeah.
I always love playing with Russians. They're hilarious. I played with 2 Russians in Blainville. One of them was like had the sickest mitts I've ever seen in my life. He's playing in the KHL now, and And then I don't think I played with a Russian from there on out, actually. Oh, no, yeah, I played with Max Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev's little brother in Moncton. Yeah, he is sick too.
Yeah,
This
well,
guy, he's a big defenseman. He's a pretty defensive defenseman. And my favorite thing about him is he mumbles to himself every time he goes to the penalty box and in the box. And he leads the team in penalty minutes right now, so it happens a lot.
Really?
You'll just see
Yeah,
him talking to himself the whole trip to the box and in the box. It's hilarious.
really. That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, when you're doing that, I think it's either you're talking negatively or you're talking crap about the ref. I remember I used to go to the box. I'd be like, I'm so benched when I get back out of this box. I'm sitting right in the middle bench. But
no, why? I mean, I interviewed my fair share of Russians. I mean, those guys they're funny when you get them going because you'll be talking to like, yeah, so, you know, how do you like to approach a big game? And they go, I win.
yeah,
And like it's always sounded. I mean, it's like when you watch those videos of Malkin, right? You know, he's got to be the funniest guy in the league because he pretends that he can't speak English despite being here for almost 20 years.
exactly.
You know, you watch,
Speaking.
yeah, we watched the one when he was back in Halifax, right? And he's sitting there and he's like, Crosby, Crosby, Crosby. He's like, tell them that I'm here too, right? And Jari, like, tell them that me and Jari are here too.
Yeah, it's not
Right?
just
And I think it's the way that they say things too, right? Where they're there and, you know, it just sounds funny, certain things that they say, like, they were debating whether they pick a new captain in Pittsburgh when Crosby was out for the season. And like votes like 2-2, Malkin's the deciding whether he's going to get the captaincy. He goes, this stupid Sid captain. And everybody changed their mind because they couldn't stop laughing at him.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it's so funny.
That's hilarious. Oh,
Yeah.
no, they're one of a kind.
We always quote the one player that we had here a few years ago on our headsets at the Meridian every week. It was when we had Daniil Gushchin here, and we were interviewing them. They were down by a goal, and you know, our interviewer Al, he's like, you know, the stereotypical, what do you got to do to get back in the game? And Daniil, 3-word answer: shoot the more puck.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so that comes up almost every game now.
That cues it up for them pretty good.
Yeah, well, we need to know. I mean, all these funnies here, like, well, what's some of the funny stuff that you've gotten to listen to on the bench? You know, funny chirps. Who's the funniest guy you play with? You know, whatever.
Oh, funniest guy I've played with. Let me think. There's been a couple guys with some good chirps. When I played against William Dufour, before I played with him on St. John, he would always rip me apart. So he's always good for a couple chirps. Like when I played against him, I played on Blainville, he played on Drummondville, and there were two arch rivals. And obviously, like, he's doing a lot more than me on the ice, and I'd literally just try to ask him to fight every single game. And he just like tear me apart. And I remember there was one time I played on Moncton, and we were playing in St. John, and I was on the power play. It was the first time in my career on the power play, and I was like, not just net front, like I was half wall, like getting the puck on the breakouts, and I was in front of the bench, in front of their bench, and he's just yapping in my ear. And I turn around, I said, "You don't stop, I'm gonna go score on your goalie." And sure enough, like that shift, get the puck down the right wing, rip it high glove, and I just yapped at him the whole way by their bench. I'm like, "That's because of you, Dufour. That's because of you." So like he's always one when I hear about chirps. Like he's always good for a couple. Like I never really got chirped too much. Like it was only really him and a couple other, like Xavier Simoneau. He played on Drummondville too. Like he'd always chirp me too. But it's always just the same thing. Like, "Oh, you're terrible, Blake." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I beat the crap out of you." And like that's just always my comeback. But I don't really hear too many chirps nowadays. Like everybody's kind of quiet out there. I don't really like it. I'm always good. Like I'll bark a little bit at people, but most of my chirps are just, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. That's about it.
Well, have you ever watched the one where Jody Shelley was talking about how Ty Domi brought him to the land of no return?
No, I've never seen that.
No, so he's like, yeah, so, you know, I'm a young guy in the league, you know, Ty Domi's on the other side, you know, I grew up a Ty Domi fan, you know, blah, 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 blah. So he goes out there and goes, "Hey, like Ty, you gotta fight me, right?" And Ty looks at him. He goes, "No, like buzz off, kid. Like I'm not doing this."
Yeah.
Right? He's like, "Nah, like you're just a big chicken." So Ty Domi turns around. He goes, "What's your name, kid?" He goes, "Jody." He goes, "Okay, Jody." So he grabs a stick and he signs. It's like, "To my biggest fan, Jody Shelley." Love Ty Domi, and throws it up over the glass to him, right? So he's like, "Well, what do I do with this now?" Right? So the trainer's like, "Well, where's it going?" He's like, "Oh, that's going in the dressing room. I'm taking that one home." But he's like, "There's no coming back when Ty Domi does that to you. That's
That's
over."
that's an all-time story.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
it's like the ones I
Yeah,
heard
that's just
about
next
Claude
level.
Giroux. He used to bully people too back in the day.
Oh yeah. Like some of the mic'd up videos from the NHL is hilarious when you hear some of the chirps that they come up with.
Go dye
Yeah,
your hair.
go dye your hair.
Yeah. Matty Martin. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah, no, there's some funny ones.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
remember reading one where a former Q player basically said they're like, "Who's the worst chirper you've ever had to play against?" He's Claude Giroux. He's like, "That guy will make it personal."
Oh yeah.
He's like,
Some people are ruthless with it. Actually, now that you say about it, okay, we had one this year on our team. I don't know if you guys know. He's from Sault Ste. Marie. Played on Sault Ste. Marie. His name's Cole McKay.
Oh, I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's on our team at UNB now, and he hit someone. We were playing TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University, in UNB, and they came down to play against us for a little preseason. And we played them Friday night and Saturday night, and there was a guy who was scratched Friday and he was playing Saturday, and he's just chirping the whole bench, like chirping McKay, like calling him soft, saying he sucks. And McKay turns around and looks at him and goes, "Scratch last night?" He goes, "Yep." McKay hits him with, "What color was your suit? Was it blue?" And he just went along with it. He's like, "Yeah, it was blue." It was the funniest one liner I ever heard. Like, "What color was your suit?" Like, and like, sure enough, like he was going along. Like, he thought he was dead serious. He's like, "Yeah, it's blue. Why?" And like, we were just dying on the bench. It was so funny.
Yeah, well, the best one I had growing up is this one kid we used to play against. He had these big, thick, like sport goggles on, right? Like you know the
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
So he'd come up to the face-off circle, and at the time, the team captain the year before I got, he goes into the face-off as the defenseman, and he goes, "Jesus, Bubbles!" Like, there's no way. So for the next 3 years, all we ever did was call this guy Bubbles. Oh,
Yeah.
it was over. Looked at one of my guys. Oh, what was it? He look at the dude. He calls him Peach Fuzz, and my teammate's like, "Bro, like I have a full beard. Like if you're gonna chirp me, come up with some." And
Yeah.
later in that game, I run him over because he's poking the goalie, and he calls me a Jew, and I'm like, "That's not
Jesus.
even a chirp, man."
No, that's
So
that's
he's
low.
box. I'm beaking off at him, right? That he
Yeah.
can't chirp. The rest like, "What are you going on about?" I'm like, "He's an idiot." And he goes,
Yeah.
"No, well then leave it alone." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. He's an idiot and he needs to know it. Go to the box, teach him how to chirp me, and then bring him back out. I don't even want the penalty. Just teach him how to chirp me."
Sometimes
Yeah.
you just can't even get through to those kind of guys. That's just
Oh
who
my
they are, you
God.
know.
Some
Yeah.
people
In
are
one
just
ear at the
terrible
other.
chirpers.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably up there for a terrible chirper. Like I come up with just random stuff and just say it. Like legit, whatever's on my mind. I hit a lot with, "Oh, I'd beat the crap out of you." That's about it. That's as far as I really go.
Well, at least you got something to work with though. I know some kids that they come up with stuff that's even more recycled than that. So
Yeah.
it's like you're bad.
I think it's an art to chirp, honestly. If you could come up with one liners, it's nice.
I
Yeah, no,
I
the best I've seen when I was coaching is one guy absolutely annihilates a kid, comes back to the bench, he's like, "Yeah, no, like I put him to sleep. He's gone." Right? So then he's running his mouth the rest of the game, but you tuck the guy into bed. Right? And
Oh
then
yeah.
one of them, I have like this incredibly high skilled guy. He's going to go probably first round in the O.
Oh
Um,
wow.
right? So he's like dancing through people. Some kid tries it. Right? And the entire bench goes, "Wow, bro thinks he's Wazzy or something." Right? Dude's dying laughing. The other guy's
Yeah.
like so frustrated that everybody's beaking off him because he thinks he's better than he is. It was so funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, I'm telling you, those 15-year-olds, they're mean. They're
Oh yeah,
worse
they're
than
nasty.
anybody I played against.
Yeah.
I
No,
let
they
one
are.
slip. I was actually working at the Meridian. It was another game against Erie, you know, that always seems to be the thing. the atmosphere was absolutely like there was a lot of tension. And the one guy comes off, I think he got a high stick to the nose. And I let it slip. I was standing there in the tunnel and I'm like, hey bud. I'm like, you got a little something on your face there. He's like bleeding out of the face. And I'm like, wait, I'm getting paid. I probably shouldn't be chirping the players.
Yeah.
I'm sure he took it with a, on the cheek, right?
Maybe.
He's cool with it.
Had him open.
Yeah. That was the same game that one of their players was trying to fight one of our fans coming out of the tunnel. He got a 10-minute and he was trying to fight one of our fans coming out of the tunnel.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
The fan
another
interactions
classic.
are always funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I've gotten beaked a couple times from fans. I got one liner for fans is just how much did you pay to watch me play? That's always my one liner. How much you pay to get here?
You got to give him the Sean Avery response. Avery, you suck. Come on, man. You don't have a dental plan at work? They're like, you suck. Toasted him.
Yeah, no, there's some good chirps, that's for sure. I never had to use any really that much. I just kind of let my game go for it.
Yeah, just kind of ignore them. If you need to chirp them back, but let them have their fun. You're on the ice, they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, always fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I was checking to see if anything further has happened in our game here.
Well, I always get updates with that new app. So
Still the same.
what period is it? Oh,
3.
half
9 minutes left.
oh, wow. So I guess Samsonov will. Oh wait, no, Samsonov got pulled. Go figure. It's Wall winning the game again.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Wall's got to be the starter. Like, he has to be.
No, I think he is. Like everybody, I've not seen a single person blame that man for losing a game yet this season, which is
No.
I mean, everybody blames the goalie. So I mean, this is the most bizarre time in the world where nobody's blaming the goalie.
Everybody thinks he's going to be the next coming Carey Price too. So
Okay, now I might not put that on his shoulders yet, but
no, exactly. Kid's still
that's
young.
not fair.
He hasn't even been a starter yet full time. So
Yeah, that's not really fair.
see
That's
where he
like,
goes.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just see where he goes. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you
He
can't
certainly
put
got the skills
expectations on
to
people like that. Be like Yakupov.
Oh, he's already exceeded Yakupov.
Oh, what do you mean? Yakupov has more goals in the NHL than Connor Bedard, so clearly Yakupov is better.
Clearly.
Bring him back. I was
Yeah,
just telling my buddy the other day, they brought back Sam Gagner to Edmonton. The key to winning this year is bring back all the old guys. Bring back Hall, bring back Yakupov.
Bring back Eberle.
Eberle, yeah. Yeah.
Bring
That's how they're
back,
gonna
may as well bring Grant Fuhr out of retirement.
win.
Or whatever goalie they would have had when we were growing up.
Dwayne
before Talbot.
And Wayne Rolson.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
It's my dad's buddy growing up.
Oh, really?
He used to play here in Thorold.
Yeah, he was a good goalie growing up.
Underrated.
Yeah. He's good in Tampa too.
If he didn't get injured in the playoffs in 2006, he might have got the Oilers the cup.
Yeah. They had the
He went
squad
down
there.
and Carolina took over.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Oilers really need something, I hear John Klingberg's available, so.
Oh my God. Get that guy out of Toronto. That's insane. He's a liability on defense, even worse than Revo.
I mean,
I feel like anybody wearing number 3 in a blue jersey just is not a good sign.
yeah, but Hall's
Yeah.
like elite now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how does that work? He's like the lead leader in plus minus. How does that work?
Makes no sense.
I don't know. I'll never get it.
I can't
I'll
even
never
explain
understand.
it.
Guy
I
got
think
beat
it's
up
just-
by Nuge, and that was it. He turned it on after that.
Wet by Nuge.
Well,
Oh yeah.
that's what happens when you try to fight Nuge, I guess.
Yeah, seriously. No,
I think
he
I still
got
have that photo of Hull's face just mushed into his neck. on my phone somewhere.
No,
Yeah,
we
no.
need a.
The Leafs are a meme, to say the least.
Oh, it could be worse. You could be an Oilers fan or a Sharks fan.
Yeah,
Whoever loses to the Sharks may as well just get relegated to the AHL.
yeah, exactly. They are
Yeah.
so bad. I've never seen anything like it. Never.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure an ECHL team could beat them right now.
100%.
Throw the Newfoundland Growlers out there, see how it goes.
They have more passion, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a lack of passion versus they just are not a good
Yeah.
team.
They just suck.
Yeah,
I only just
they
learned
get the
yesterday
goaltending, nothing else.
that Matt Cook was coaching the Growlers. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they signed him. Not that you want to see something worse though for the Leafs fans. Colton Orr is now a coach.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's signed today with one of the PWHL teams.
He's one tough guy, that's for sure.
My roommate's favorite player growing up. I'm like, why? He's like, cuz I love big tough guys that fight.
Yeah.
His other favorite players are big shutdown defensemen because he was a goalie who led the league in penalty minutes. Yeah, guy was the team enforcer from the crease.
That's impressive to do.
Yeah, they basically told him he can play like he can be mean as long as he doesn't play bad. So
Yeah.
he'd be like coming out of the net like every other game, throwing the blocker at people. It's like, yeah, you're the team enforcer? All right, let's go.
He's the second coming of Ron Hextall.
Literally. Like,
Or
dude
Billy
doesn't
Smith.
even box. He's like 130 pounds soaking wet.
Jeez.
He's like he's got all that goalie gear on then.
Yeah.
No, it
he's
didn't help him.
250.
Yeah.
No. Never knew how he did it.
Yeah, no, that's impressive to be an enforcer from there.
Yeah. I've never seen the likes of it. Not since Ray Emery.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. Just a little. Just a little.
Just a little bit, yeah. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys having me on. It was awesome chatting.
Oh, totally. I mean, it was nice to finally actually talk face to face this time too.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your favorite hockey team? Toronto Maple Leafs. Who is your hockey idol? Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much more chemistry now.
Not a lot's changed since then. So
Yeah, well, at least it aged well, right? Except for the Moncton questions, because you were shipped out shortly after.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't in there for too long.
No. We'll see what changes in like 5 years when this podcast is still going. We'll circle back.
Yeah.
I got one last question.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I got the Niagara jersey on behind me. Did you ever have Stefan Legion as a coach?
I did have Steph. Steph was my coach in St. John, like during the time I was there. So from January 2022 to when we won the cup in June 2022. He was a good coach. He's a player's coach as an assistant coach.
I feel bad because I watched an interview with him with the guys from Kitchener. And it seems like Niagara's the reason why his pro career derailed, but
yeah.
Well,
he was like a
it's a university town here.
He was a highly touted player. And like he would be the first one to admit like he had his struggles, right? Like he got into a lot of stuff that he shouldn't have been into. And no, he was a good coach. He's a player's coach. He was mostly with the D, but still, like he'd always be right in there talking to the boys before and after practice.
Yeah, he was only here during our first year, but his photo's still up in the Meridian. I can't remember where, but his photo's up there. I think with Petrangelo, and he still gets talked about here, which is good.
That's hilarious. I think he's coaching out west now or something.
I think Spokane. No, not Spokane.
Somewhere's out, maybe Tri-City or something.
I for some reason Everett sticks in my head, but I'm not sure if that's it.
Yeah, he's somewhere's out west. But yeah, he's out there now. But because our assistant coach, it was Steph and our assistant coach Travis Crickard, and Travis Crickard got offered the job to be the head coach. He was kind of like modeling into it. He was assistant coach out in Kelowna for a bit when they went to the Mem Cup. and then came down here. He's assistant coach, and he's awesome. He's a great coach. But no, when I saw that Steph went out west, some message told him congrats. So it's good for him.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was remembering that video I watched there, and I made the connection there while we were doing this. So I
Yeah.
just had to ask about that there.
Yeah, no, and when you see Steph like on the ice as a coach too, like he had skill when he was coaching, but like had the weirdest stick ever. Like his knob was like that big. Like, it was insane. But he'd go out there and like he'd have better hands than me out on the ice. Like it was insane.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a highly skilled. He didn't play a whole lot of games here. He was injured for a lot of his time here, but I mean, when he did play, he was a fan favorite here for sure.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
I don't remember too much of that. I was like 10 years old when he was here, so it was a little while ago, but
Yeah, no, I heard that he was a stud and like could have went far. And I've seen a couple articles and he's told me a little bit about it. But yeah, he went through some hardships, that's for sure. But good to see that he's made it through and still here and being a coach. So it's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I watched he has a great interview with the two guys from Kitchener. I can't remember their names right now, but it's like an hour and a half long, and he just kind of talks about what happened after the World Juniors there, and it's a great watch. It opens your eyes
Yeah.
kind of what players go through behind the scenes, and it's very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that for sure.
Yeah. Drake, you got any more questions?
Oh no, I kind of jumped into everything I had and more. But if I come up with any others, maybe we do a sequel.
For sure. You guys just send me a message.
Well, I know how to find you, so
Yeah.
Awesome.
alrighty.
Well, appreciate having you on. This was a great talk.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it again. And yeah, we'll have to come on for a sequel here soon. So keep it going and I'm excited to hear it.
That's good.
Yeah,
We've had
can't
two
wait.
guests and both want to come back, so we're doing
We're
something
doing
all
good.
right
We're
here.
doing good. We're doing
You
something
guys are
right.
doing something right, that's for sure.
We might only have 5 views, but we're doing it right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to spread the word as much as I can. I got a big family, so big old country family. So I'm sure that they'll all be spreading it too.
Beauty.
All right. Well, Martin, I did the intro. If you want to do the outro,
Alrighty. You want me to send this off then?
yeah, go ahead.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for everybody that has joined us and everybody that's with us at this point, because this thing has gone quite the distance here. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for joining us. And Nick, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no, thanks guys. Thanks again. I appreciate it. And keep up the good work.
Awesome.
You as
We
well.
appreciate it. And for my colleague Drake White, I'm Martin Irving saying thank you for riding it out on Riding the Pine.